Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to KRSTV. This is your boy Kenny. Now remember, subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you can get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow all the information I have in the description box and in the comment section. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And also check out my YouTube partner, BK WorldTube, which is the home of black entertainment. It's the black Netflix. You get everything from love and hip hop to the haves and the have-nots, and even RuPaul's Drag Race. So go over there and check them out today. And the link is in my description box and in my comment section. Yeah, hit them up. So this is another mukbang, and a lot has happened this week, but what I'm serving today is turkey thighs along with collard greens, which is collard greens in a mixture of collard and kale, and also some homemade potato salad with pepper on top. Love it that way. So while I eat this, what I'm going to talk about today is going to be a variety of different topics. And the first thing I want to open up with is this whole situation involving Tim Norman. Recently, Robbie Montgomery, his mother, you know, the creator and owner of Sweetie Pies, she has finally made a statement in regards to the whole situation. For those who don't know, Tim Norman is being charged with a conspiracy to hire for murder plot against his own nephew, Andre Montgomery. He had two accomplices who have also being charged, one being Tarika Ellis and the other being Wally Yangam. And currently right now I think they're pretty much, you know, getting everything together. But Robbie pretty much said that, you know, this situation is too hard for her to discuss, and that we pray for her and her son. Yes, you have my complete condolences, and you do have my prayers, Robbie, because, and then there were some people who were shocked that, you know, she would say pray for her son. I'm like, that's still her child. Regardless of what he's being accused of, that's still her son, you know, and mothers love their children unconditionally, good, bad, or indifferent. So she loves her child, even though, despite the fact that he probably could have did one of the most unthinkable things to her. But I definitely she has my full support, and I definitely understand where she's coming from. I mean, this is a woman who has been rocked by the most gruesome thing you could possibly think of, and the fact that her son could possibly be the person that's behind it. But the good thing is that you know, she definitely has a lot of support around her, and she definitely is going to need a lot of support to get her through this. So again, my condolences to Robbie Montgomery and her family. Now the next situation I'm going to talk about is, there's been this whole situation involving domestic violence, and I'm talking about no other than Tahiry, Jose, and Joe Budden. Now, I like Joe Budden. You know, I may not agree with everything he says, but I definitely like his style. I like the fact that he's in his own lane and he just does he just does him. You know, he has his ways, but in all honesty, I like the fact that he's original. You know, he is who he is. Well, Tahiry went on Hollywood Live and had a discussion with Jason Lee, where she opens up the fact that Joe Budden was physically abusive to her, and that he had pushed her down some stairs, he broke her nose, cracked her ribs, and, you know, pretty much just put Joe out there that he was like Ike Turner, and that, you know, he was on cocaine and he was just on 100, and he was always going upside her head. But then But then Joe Budden decided to do a rebuttal. And due to the fact of what I've seen of Tahiry on Marriage Boot Camp, Joe definitely got some truth to what he's saying. Saying that she's the abusive one, she used to whoop my ass, and that she's toxic, and that they were just toxic for each other. So the reason why I'm talking about this is because in this situation, I think they abused one another. I think it was a catch-22 going back and forth. You know, one day Tahiry fucked him up, the other day he fucked her up. It was kind of like a back and forth thing. See, the thing about domestic violence that I think some people don't get, it's not always just a one-sided thing. Sometimes it's domestic violence on both ends. And I think that was the situation here, that there was just domestic violence on both ends, but he did clarify he did not break her nose. It was somebody that she got into it with in the club, and the guy punched her in the face and broke her nose. And he said he had nothing to do with that. And he said he was actually at the hospital with her. You know, he went to the hospital, you know, and was by her side after it happened. So I'm like, wow. But and then he pretty much says that she's a clout and check chaser, that she's just doing all of this for money and for, you know, attention and all of that. And far as I even remember when they were both on Love and Hip Hop, and they got into that squaffle backstage with I forgot old boy who was a ghostwriter. If y'all know his name, put it down in the comments. But Tahiry decked that dude. So Tahiry, from what I've seen of Tahiry, she'll fight a dude. She will fight a dude, like with no question. You know, so, and then like when I saw her on Marriage Boot Camp with what I think his name was Vadu or something. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. They got into it where she was like throwing apples at him and shit, and next thing you know, he choked her out, and they end up kicking him off the show for that situation. The fact that they escalated to that pretty much screams to me that this ain't the first time that they done been down that rodeo. That this is just something that is somewhat conditioned and it needs to be treated. Like they ain't the first time that happened. I mean, it's probably the first time they've done it in front of other people, maybe, but it ain't the first time the two of them have stricken blows to one another. So this whole situation of domestic violence is very serious. And what I was saying is that domestic violence is not just always one-sided. Sometimes it's double-sided. You know, you have people who are in abusive relationships where they're abusing each other. It's not just one person abusing the other. It's back and forth. But I'm glad that Joe shared his side of it. I definitely believe that I don't think one was more abusive than the other. I just think they both were toxic and they both abused each other. And the fact that they was even willing to get married, that was crazy too. Even though at first I did kind of like them together because I thought they were cute, but then when all the craziness started to show, I'm like, yeah. Only God knows. So that's what I got on that situation. Also, something that really stuck out to me is that, you know, this whole year of 2020, I'm beginning to say that the year 2020 is the year of the light, because a lot of things that's been happening behind closed doors are now starting to reap its ugly head. It's now in the light, and people are getting exposed left and right. Now, what I'm discussing here is two situations, and they both involve people of the church. Because the thing about 2020, yeah, it's been a year of hell for all of us involved. I mean, especially with this global pandemic going on. But this is like the year where no longer can people hide their bullshit or hide their dirt. Like, this is a year where if you're on some fuck shit, nine times out of 10 you're gonna be exposed this year, and people are gonna see you for what you truly are, or people are gonna, see the real truth. And the thing is, both of these pastors, my grandmother, God rest her soul, were huge fans of them, because my grandmother was a minister, and she would watch all of these televangelists. I mean, they were like her best friends. I mean, I remember going when I would go to school growing up in North Carolina, I would always go to her house before I caught my bus and get breakfast, and then I would stop at our house on the when I got out of school. I would stop at our house before I went home. And every time I went in our house, it was Benny Hinn, it was Joyce Meyer, and there was this person that I'm about to talk about, Creflo Dollar. She was a huge fan of Creflo Dollar. But over the years, after that whole jet situation, she ain't really fuck with him no more. Where he was asking people to donate $65 million so he can get a new jet so he can continue to spread God's word. But there's been a recent development that has come out about him. Now, this is all alleged, but pretty much there's this guy named Ramon who has surfaced, and he pretty much puts it out there that him and Creflo Dollar then had them entanglement, where he literally busted Creflo wide open for 4 hours. When I heard this, I was like, well, when I saw him on the Ricky Smiley show, I was kind of giving him the side eye, because I'm like, nothing surprises me in situations like this, but I think it all stems from somewhere. And the next person I'm going to talk about, I'm going to tie both of them together, because I think this is an actual pandemic within the black community, around this notion of sexuality. But when I heard that, I was like, child, don't tell me Creflo was on all fours letting old boy use his drill in his Hershey tunnel, child. I was like, wow. I had to clutch my pearls hearing this shit. I'm like, okay, Creflo. I mean, we've heard some stuff. I mean, how you punched your daughter, and how you was trying to get the congregation to give you $65 million so you could buy a jet that only you and your team was gonna fly in. Was the whole congregation gonna fly on that jet, bruh? Yeah, I didn't think so. So, so it's just messed up that he's being exposed yet again. But the other person I'm gonna talk about, my grandmother was also a fan of this guy. After he took over, being the associate pastor at Joel Osteen's church, and I'm talking about John Gray. It has been pretty much put out there by his, side piece that the two of them were having an affair. Now, this is not the first time he's cheated on his wife, and everybody is kind of like saying like, why the hell is his wife, why won't she leave him, and why is she clapping? Because they was on the reel where he said he had an emotional relationship with this woman and that nothing happened, which has been proven to be, the lie detect determined that's a lie. Shout out to you, Maury. And she was on thing just clapping, just happy, like, yes, Hercules, that's my man. Yes. But the side piece won't take in that shit. She was like, oh, really? You're not gonna remember my goodies? Oh, not only did she tell the tea, she went on Larry Live. Shout out to him. He's always putting out the tea when it comes down to the whole black church and the Kojic and all of that. he did a great interview with Denise Clark from the Clark sisters. The black sheep, as they call her. But he did a great session of interviews with her, and she was spilling some tea. But to get back on the subject, the side piece went on Larry Reid, and she had receipts. See, I'm gonna tell y'all something when it comes down to hoes. I mean, if y'all didn't watch my other mukbang when I was talking about bosses versus hoes, come up closer, because there's something about hoes that has changed. See, hoes at one point would keep your secrets. Y'all can do anything from under the sun with them. Hell, knock them down a flight of stairs or whatever. Like, you can do a whole bunch of shit with a side hoe. But now, if you ain't got no NDA, these hoes are gonna tell your business, and they gonna take it to the bank. Especially if that bank you was given, that bankroll that you was investing in them, that shit start to dry up. Oh, secrets are about to be exchanged, because it is what it is. Hoes ain't loyal. So unless you keep up the deal, these hoes gonna spill your tea. Because Miss Thing had not only text but also voicemail messages where you really hear that this situation is far bigger than what he was saying when he was on the reel. That they even stayed at the same hotel that he was staying with his wife. So, in my opinion, I think the wife knows. But she is moving in a different way than most people. I mean, first of all, I think a lot of this, the reason why he's doing what he's doing is due to probably his childhood trauma that he shared, where he was sexually abused. And, this whole question of, love and marriage and monogamy, he's obviously having issues with. But I think also it's being ignited because of his fortune and fame. Because everybody was wondering why he bought his wife that $200,000 Lamborghini for a wedding present. It's because he did the big no-no, and he had to make it right by spending some coin. Oh, and she loving that Lamborghini, honey. Because I think what Mrs. Gray is doing is playing the long game. And for those who've been around, y'all know about that long game. Like, yeah, I'm gonna let you do your shit. I'm gonna tally up everything, and when the time is right, when I leave, I'm definitely taking me a good chunk of this shit. I ain't gonna leave empty-handed. I'm not gonna blow up and cause a fit right now. But trust me, you are being documented. She documenting that ass, and I ain't mad at her. Because at the end of the day, as a grown-ass man, you need to get your shit out your system before you decide to get married. I mean, and I think this is a problem as far as the black community, because we have shunned this notion of sexuality in such a heinous way that people suppress themselves. And then they get into these marriages and they can't be faithful to their partner because all of that hoish desire that they should have gotten out the system starts to erupt like a volcano, and they want to put their dick everywhere. Hell, they don't even want to put their dicks in electric sockets, for crying out loud. It is what it is. I mean, that's definitely the case for a lot of these DL men, because I've been with a few of them to know. Yeah, it's like this rush. Like, I gotta get it out. And then when they get it out, they go back to their lives and, play house with the wives and the kids. It's crazy. I mean, which is why I myself have decided to no longer deal with those type of guys, because it's always the same situation. You know, even if you get a different scenario, the situation is always the same. But then in this situation here, involving John Gray, it's like this is a telltale sign that you need to get a hold of your issues, and maybe you need to take some time away from the pulpit, clean that up. Because really right now, all I see is that he is really dancing around it because he's afraid of losing that bag. Well, bruh, when you're in that position and you fuck up like that, it's gonna cost you. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, he's human, so therefore he's human like everybody else. He's not the only person that's cheated on his wife. But when you're a public figure, all of your I's are being dotted and all of your T's are being crossed. And you make any mark, oh, trust and believe the media and everybody is there to watch. They are there to see you get humiliated, and they're even there to see you fall. So you really need to just take time away and sort out your personal issues, and you need to do it now. You know, don't worry about the bag right now, because this is going to cost you, because now your image that you have been selling, that image that we have become familiar with, is now forever tainted. So so with the situation like these erupting in 2020, this is a saying that, you know, we need to get it right with God. And we definitely need to get it right within ourselves. Because, as I was saying before, that we as a people have caused these kind of problems, where people suppress who they are because they're trying to fit into this balloon of what life is supposed to be. You know, married, children, the house with the picket fence. Everybody has had that drilled into them from childbirth, and everybody thinks that's what life is supposed to be, and if you don't have those things, then your life is meaningless. When yet there's many people who are very fulfilled and don't have those things. You know, there's some people who don't have jobs and are more happy than people that got them. So I think we as the black community has to stop shunning sexuality. We need to openly embrace it. We need to celebrate it. It's not a bad thing. Everybody has sexual desires, some more than most. And then you got some who are nymphos who definitely need some help. Because a nympho, you know, hey, I ain't knocking nobody who is one, but I'm saying if this becomes to the point where you're hurting people, you need to get some help. As long as you're not hurting anybody, there's nothing bad when it comes to sex, regardless of what type of sexual preference you like. There's preferences. There's a variety, you know. But again, as long as you're not hurting anybody, it's not bad. And we need to stop judging people based off of sex and things like that. You know, it's actually crippling us as a people, because we can't get past this fear of sexuality and what true sexuality really is. But I want you guys to get down in those comments and let me know your thoughts on this, because it's really hitting me, because the black church definitely drills a lot of this in us, you know, this, you know, false notion of what we're supposed to be as far as, you know, our sexuality, as far as all of these things. And we're literally seeing that, you know, there needs to be a revolution within the black community in itself. You know, how we think about ourselves and how we think about each other and how we relate to one another. It's a very it's a discussion that needs to be an ongoing thing. So get down in those comments and let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear from you. So until next time, everybody, take care.